Thirteen minutes before the hour, and Jacob Johnson from Marble City Pharmacy joins us this morning. Jake, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale. How are you today?
I'm doing well. We've been doing the backstroke the last few days, you know, with all this rain we've had.
Well, you know, they're lining up 2 by 2.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Hey, I hadn't thought about our topic this morning in a long time. Back when our kids were little, we're talking this morning about head lice.
Head lice. Listen, if you're watching today and your head isn't itching right now, it will be by the time we finish talking. Because whenever you talk about this subject, you start to feel it.
What is exactly head lice? What does that mean?
Head lice themselves they're actual insects. You know, we talk about, you know, we've come on here before and talk about ringworm. Hey, it's not a worm, it's a skin infection. It's not. No, head lice are actually insects. They are bugs. They are parasites. They feed on human blood, which sounds just so appetizing first thing here in the morning. Everybody's going to love that. But that's why they choose human hosts. They feed on human blood. They get in your hair, and they nest there, and they lay eggs there, and they live there. And you got to find a way to get rid of them. But unlike some insects, and this one's important for as we go this morning, lice are wingless. They do not have wings, which is a good thing, because if they did, this would be a much bigger problem.
It would, it would. So what's some of the symptoms other than itching in head lice?
So the first symptom is this crazy itch. Now, I was there, wait a minute, my head's itching right now. Uh-oh. No, it's because I'm talking about lice. In my mind, my head is itching. But no, the lice itch is an intense, I have to scratch uncontrollably kind of itch. And, you know, honestly, as the lice mature and get older, you know, you can have a tingling sensation when they're moving. You can feel your hair moving. So itching, tingling. And then honestly, as they get into the shorter hairs around the edge, you can see them, and or you can see little white thing look kind of like dandruff, but that is the egg. That's the nit. You've heard the term nits. That's lice eggs. And so you can see the lice, you can see the nits sometimes. You can see the sores where they've bitten you and you've scratched at them. But mainly, the number one is that just crazy itch.
I don't know why, but I always think that children are the most affected by head lice. But what causes the spread, and who is most affected?
Well, you're right in that children are the most common to get it. They're not more susceptible than anybody else. It's not kids have magic hair. It's not anything like that. It's that they're the most likely to be hanging out in close contact, you know, heads touching each other, you know, trading caps, you know, using somebody else's brush at school, you know, all these sorts of things. And so kids are much more likely to get it. But what causes them to move, keep in mind, like I said, they don't jump, they don't fly. We always think lice just jump all the way across that classroom and they're hopping just like fleas from one kid to another. They don't jump, they don't fly. But you get kids in a classroom, they're hanging their coats next to each other, or they're throwing their stuff in the same locker, or they're, you know, roughhousing and their heads are close together, or just they're sitting compact in a classroom. That's how lice move, and that's why we always associate it with kids, because that's almost always where the spreading in a community starts. So close head-to-hand contact, sharing of belongings, it gets on furniture at the house, and the next thing you know, mama and the other siblings got it, and then the school don't want them for a few days, and so grandmama's got to keep them while mama goes to work, and now grandmama's got it, and that's how it spreads. So it's not more specific to school kids, but it's the easiest place for it to spread, and then now everybody's got it.
This is not in my notes, but can this be real serious, or is it just something that's got to be treated?
Fortunately, no, I mean, you know, I guess out there is a worst case scenario where somebody scratched their head a lot and they had something on their hand and they got a skin infection or something. But in general, no. It's just something that very hard to treat and get rid of, and so sometimes when your kid gets it, especially if you've got multiple kids, it becomes this multiple weeks and months fight at the house to get these things to go away. It's kind of a nightmare. But no, nobody's going to die from this.
Yeah. You know, you talked about school, but I'm sure even churches. So how can we prevent getting this head lice?
You know, I wanted to make sure this question was in there because the first thing, you have to dispel a myth. The kid that gets head lice, it's not because he's got a bad mama, and it's not because his hair was dirtier than everybody else's. That is a myth. That is not remotely true. Honestly, sometimes it's a lot easier for him to get into clean hair than it is dirty, and the nicest, longest hair in the room is the most inviting place for a parasite like that. So just first of all, I want to throw that out there. It's not because your kid's dirty. You don't have to come in the store in shame if your kid's got lice. It just means he went to school with somebody that's got lice. It's okay. So prevent it. Honestly, there's not a lot of ways. First and best way to prevent it is at a young age, kind of educating your child about it. Hey, don't use Billy's comb. Don't wear Johnny's hat. Don't throw your clothes in Susie's locker. Or when you go to gym and it's easy, don't throw everything in one locker.
And again, I don't mean that person's bad.
That person's bad. Just don't share stuff like that because again, they can't jump, they can't fly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Now you tell a bunch of little boys no head-to-head contact and they're out there wrestling on the ground 10 minutes later. I get it. I was, but that's so the best way to prevent it is to just teach your kids those type of good habits to prevent them. But there are some ideas out there that some simple, harmless seed oil, rosemary oil, tea tree oil, coconut oil, those types of things that you can find in some shampoos. There's some small-scale evidence that if you use like a rosemary shampoo, it's effective as a lice preventative, or a coconut oil shampoo. Listen, I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but they're harmless. And so if there's a big outbreak at your kid's school or church or something, you want to wash your kid's hair for a few weeks with rosemary shampoo. We did it to my kid when there was an issue somewhere she went. We washed her hair in rosemary shampoo for longer than I can remember. Didn't hurt anything. It's a completely normal shampoo. But we didn't get the lice. I don't know if that's why or not, but these things are harmless. So if you want to use a preventative shampoo, I can't promise you it's going to prevent it, but it's harmless.
I've seen stories of people staying in hotel rooms that contract head lice, and so there's several different ways that you can do this, can contract head lice, but how's a real good way to treat head lice?
Yeah, listen, treating head lice, I tell people, treating the lice is the easy part. It's just the aftermath. So treating the lice, there's a couple of good over-the-counter products. The old brand names were Nix and Rid. I think the brands are probably long gone by now, but the generics are still out there. And they have a chemical in them that is toxic to lice. And you use them as a shampoo or a lotion in your hair, and you do it a couple times, and you kill the lice. And that's generally pretty easy. But our modern lice have kind of started to get to where this stuff doesn't kill them as well. So sometimes they don't work. And there's a prescription product you use. It's the same concept. It's a shampoo. You wash your hair with it. You leave it in for a little while. You rinse it out. You usually don't even have to repeat it. It kills the lice. It's called spinosad. It's a prescription. Your doctor knows about it, I can assure you. And so, again, sounds like no big deal. And generally that's the case. As long as we remember two huge things. So those lice that you are killing have laid eggs in your hair. And those eggs sit there for 6 to 9 days before they hatch. And guess what? So a week later, you got a new batch. If you don't, at the same time you're killing the lice, get you a knit comb, one of those really thin bristled combs, and really comb through wet hair.
Knit comb.
It's called a knit comb, and that's exactly what it's for. It's the name, and that's what it's for. The bristles are close enough together and firm enough that as you really go through your hair, and you got to go through it, it's getting those tiny little sticky eggs that are stuck to your hair shaft.
Do y'all sell knit combs? Wow.
Yeah, get them a little kit with some other, like one of the lice shampoos and a knit comb and some bedding spray. That's another thing. We'll get to that in a second. And so it's pretty simple to kill the lice. Then you have to get rid of the nits, wet hair, knit comb, really scrub through multiple days. Just make sure to get rid of them all. But then you know what? You got bedding, you got furniture, you got siblings, it just keeps going. So you got to treat the house, the furniture, the bedding. You got to wash it in 130 degree or more water. Just dry it on a high heat. Just all these things you have to do. It just takes a while. I tell you when people forget. You got to take little Susie's teddy bear, and you got to put that teddy bear in a big old Ziploc bag and lock it off for 2 weeks. You got to suffocate them out. And any nits that were there that are going to hatch 10 days later, suffocate them out. So 2 weeks, leave those teddy bears in a Ziploc bag. They'll be fine when you get them out. But you see, it just seems like I can overkill. There's just a lot to remember and do. And if you've been staying over at Meemaw's house, you got to do the same thing. Going over to Brothers, you got to do the same thing. It's just a lot. And these moms come in and they're just exhausted. I been doing nothing but washing sheets and teddy bears for 2 weeks. Yep.
So what do you do with these lice nits when you get them out of your hair? What do you do with them?
Garbage bag and tie it off. So a lice can survive by itself, not on you, for a day, 2 days at the most. tie them off. They can't jump, they can't fly.
Yeah.
So you just tie them off and throw them away, and it's fine if they hatch, if they're not on you. And by the way, they don't like animals. They're not on your dog. They're not living on your cat, and they only like humans. So don't worry about that. Fluffy's fine. Yeah.
You know, I bet there's some people watching this morning saying, well, I got some home remedies I've used down through the years that got rid of these lice too, and I'm going to use that.
Listen, you're not going to go 10 people talking about lice that, hey, my mom put mayonnaise in my hair and wrapped it in saran wrap. Well, you know what? I can't think of any reason why that wouldn't work because you're suffocating them out, same as anything else, right? Now, I think I'd rather use a simple one and done shampoo than cover my hair in saran wrap and mayonnaise for a few days. But hey, listen, I don't have any, you're not gonna hurt yourself with it. You know, olive oil and mayonnaise are the two you hear.
I'd rather use a mayonnaise for a sandwich.
So, yeah, save that get the Duke's mayonnaise for a good sandwich. No, the olive oil treatment or the mayonnaise treatment, I have no problem with either of those. They're not hurting anyone. They honestly are probably pretty effective. There's a reason those last for generations of people doing them because I think they work. Yeah. I think I'd rather use some of this other stuff than doing that. But no, if that's the way you want to go about it, as long as you remember to comb out the nits and wash all the bedding and the furniture and vacuum everything, listen, I don't have a problem with it. And honestly, it's probably effective.
Wow. Head lice.
Are you itching yet?
That's a crazy topic this morning. Jacob, thanks for being with us this morning. And you can find out more at Marble City Pharmacy about head lice and how it's treated and all that kind of stuff. Appreciate you coming by this morning.
The second that camera goes off, I'm going to scratch my head.
There you go. There you go.